Reading 14 plus books, participating in 2 readathons, finishing up the school year, and traveling back to the States, June is going to be busy. Hi friends, I'm Danny, and welcome back to another Page in Paradise. So today I'm going to be talking about my June TBR, as well as the 2 readathons that I'm participating in this month. The first readathon that I'm going to be participating in is called Camp Seasonathon, and it was created by Completely Melanie. I'm in the turquoise cabin, and the leaders are Drew from Drew's Ambitious Reading and Melanie from Completely Melanie. The way it works is there's a different prompt for each building at the camp, and you complete books for each prompt and earn points for your cabin. The second readathon that I'm going to be participating in this month is the amazing readathon Next Stop Everywhere, created by Brianna from 4 Paws and a Book. This readathon is loosely based on The Amazing Race, and this one is Doctor Who themed, which if you had known me in college, you would have known Doctor Who was my entire personality, so I'm super excited for this one. The way that this readathon works is there will be 8 legs on this journey, and at each leg there will be a main prompt, a game board, and some sightseeing prompts along the way. You work together as a team to earn points by reading books that fit the main prompt of the current leg. If you happen to finish that book before the next leg drops, there are sightseeing challenges that you can also complete for more points. I am on Team Pandorica, and the hosts are Mel Lenore Reads and Books and Heather. You get 1 point per page of a book that you read. Graphic novels and manga count as half a point per page, though. You also get 50 bonus points if you read a book with LGBTQ+ representation, and you get 50 bonus points if you read a book that has one of your team's bonuses. Team Pandorica's bonuses are a book that has been on your TBR for over a year, and a book that has the author's name in a black or white font on the cover. So now we're going to move on to my very ambitious TBR for this month. The first book that I need to read in June is Green Rider by Kristen Britton. It's for Gavin Reads It All's members-only book club. I know nothing about this book. I've read a few pages of it and I'm already hooked, so I can't wait to actually read it. The next book on my June TBR is We'll Prescribe You a Cat by Xiao Ishida. As if I wasn't already being ambitious enough, I would also like to try to read it in Spanish if I can. When life begins to feel overwhelming for a few people, a mysterious clinic appears. These struggling patients are prescribed a feline companion who help them rediscover hope, joy, and healing in unexpected ways. This book sounds super cozy and heartwarming, and I can't wait to read it. For the amazing readathon, the prompt that I'll be reading it for is a book with more than 1 POV, and it also will get bonus points for having the author's name in white on the front cover. For Camp Seasonathon, I'll be going to the garden and reading this book for flowers on the cover. The next book on my June TBR is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. I'm super excited for this one because I've been hearing a lot about it all over BookTube. I've also signed up for an author talk with him through my home library in Texas for June 11th. I hope to finish this book by then, but we shall see because it is 450 pages, which is one reason I chose it for the Camp Seasonathon's Climbing Wall, which is an intimidating read. I'm also intimidated by it because I'm hoping to really, really like it since everyone else does. For the amazing readathon, I chose it as a book that has been recommended on BookTube, obviously. It also gets bonus points for the author's name being in white on the cover. I want to go into this book not knowing anything about it, so I have not read the synopsis, so I cannot give it to you. Sorry. Next up on my TBR is A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. When Soren died, he expected to enter the afterlife that he had believed in his entire life. Instead, when he wakes up, he finds himself in a weird version of hell of an endless library with every book ever possible. To get to heaven, he must find the book that contains the story of his life. For the amazing readathon, I chose this book for the prompt, a book with a preposition in the title, and for the Camp Seasonathon, I chose this for the canteen, which is a small book. Next up is Headcase by Bonnie Traymore. After a painful breakup and looking for a fresh start, Cassie gets a teaching job at a remote boarding school in the Catskill Mountains. One of her fellow teachers ends up dying under suspicious circumstances, and a mysterious letter appears. Cassie is determined to uncover the truth. This is a psychological thriller, and that's one of my favorite genres, and I feel like I'm going to fly through this book. For the Amazing Readathon, I'm going to be reading this book for the prompt of building on the cover, and I'll get bonus points because this one has been on my TBR for over a year. For Camp Seasonathon, I'll be going to The Outhouse because it is also my lowest rated book. I'm also planning to read Cursed Cocktails by S.L. Rowland. After decades spent defending the realm, feared blood mage Roran Bloodbane decides to retire to a warmer climate and open up a tavern. But he soon discovers that running a business comes with its own challenges. He'll have to rely on his skills that he's picked up on his adventures, as well as his friends, to build a new life. This one sounds like a cozy fantasy with second chances, found family, and discovering purpose after a lifetime of battles. For the Amazing Readathon, I chose this book for the prompt, a book with mental health representation, and I will get bonus points because the author's name appears in white font. For Camp Seasonathon, we'll be heading to the main office because this one has found family, which is my favorite trope, so I'm super excited and think I'll love this one. Next up on the TBR is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. In the peaceful woodland village of Shady Hollow, everyone seems to live in harmony, that is, until a local toad turns up dead. When reporter Vera Vixen suspects murder, she begins to investigate and she unravels secrets that threaten the safety of the town and herself. For the Amazing Readathon, I chose this for the prompt, a book with an isolated setting. Plus, I'll get bonus points because this one has been on my TBR for over a year. In fact, I think the entire series is out now. Better late than never, I guess. For Camp Seasonathon, I'll be going and playing beach volleyball for a book that's set outdoors. And the next book on my TBR is People Don't Just Disappear by Claire Allen. But apparently they do, because when Brona opens her door to find a lost child searching for his mother, she doesn't hesitate to follow him, and soon she disappears herself. As her boyfriend searches for answers, he learns that this is more than just a simple missing persons case. This book sounds super interesting, and it's another psychological thriller, so I feel like I'll fly through it. For the Amazing Readathon, I chose this book for the prompt, a book you don't own, because I got it through Prime Reading, and it will get bonus points because it has the author's name on the cover in white. For Camp Seasonathon, we'll be heading over to the woodshop for a book with a building on the cover. The next book on the TBR is Camp by L.C. Rosen. In this one, 16-year-old Randy loves spending his summers at a camp for queer teens, but he's convinced that his crush will never like him as he currently is. So determined to win over his crush, he decides to be a more masculine version of himself, but as he gets closer to his crush, he starts to question if it's really worth pretending. This sounds like a heartfelt coming-of-age story that deals with identity, self-acceptance, and staying true to who you really are. So for the Amazing Readathon, I'm hoping to read this book for a book that involves a holiday, because as a teacher, I would say summer counts as a holiday, and I would get bonus points because it has LGBTQ plus representation, but it might not work out because for Camp Seasonathon, this is the group book, and we are having an author talk on June 20th, so I would like to have the book read by then. If it doesn't work out, then I will just choose a different book for the Amazing Readathon prompt. Another book I'm hoping to get to in June is When We Were Friends by Jane Green. Lucy is finally settling into life after her divorce and embracing a more quiet, intentional lifestyle when she meets Elle, a younger woman that seems to share all of the same interests. Their friendship quickly becomes all-consuming, and as Lucy begins to introduce Elle to all of the other people in her life, she notices things that don't quite add up. For Camp Seasonathon, I'll be heading over to the dining room, and this one has food on the cover. Next up, we have The Otherwhere Post by Emily J. Taylor, and this will be the only physical book that I have this month. 7 years ago, Maeve lost everything. Today, she received an enchanted letter with 4 impossible words. Your father was innocent. To uncover the truth, she must pose as an apprentice for the Otherwhere Post and master the dangerous magic of scriptomancy. But the truth has a price, and that price might just be her life. I actually received this book as an advanced reader copy last year, but was unable to read it because I had to pack it before we moved here. So now I'm glad I get to finally read it. For Camp Season-a-thon, I will be practicing archery because this one has a weapon on the cover. I would say the pen is mightier than the sword, so it counts. And then we have Murder and a Blue Lagoon by Elizabeth Clover. When a treasure hunter staggers onto the beach, claiming to have found long-lost treasure before suddenly dying, Clementine and Splash find themselves pulled into a dangerous mystery. This one will be a super short read because it's only about 75 pages. And for Camp Season-a-thon, we'll be swimming in the lake because this one has a body of water in the title. Our second to last book is Ghost by Jason Reynolds. I've never read a book by this author that I did not absolutely adore, so I have high hopes for this one. Ghost has always been running, sometimes towards something, but more often away from his troubled past. When a former Olympic athlete discovers his natural speed, Ghost is invited to join an elite middle school track team to build a brighter future. But to succeed, he'll have to learn how to face the challenges that he's been trying to outrun his whole life. For Camp Season-a-thon, we'll be heading over to the basketball court because this book involves a sport. And finally, the book rounding out my TBR is Influencer by Adam Cesare. I found this one through my Storygraph challenge, so I'm not super familiar with it, so I'm just going to read the synopsis for it. When new student Aaron arrives in town, most people are drawn to his confidence and charisma, but Crystal immediately senses that something isn't right about him. After exposing some of his lies, she becomes the target of a disturbing campaign that slowly isolates her from her friends. As Aaron's influence grows, Crystal realizes the truth about him may be far more dangerous than she ever imagined. This one is another psychological thriller, so I feel like I will really enjoy it, and it's by the same author that wrote Clown in a Cornfield, which I really enjoyed. For Camp Season-a-thon, we will be in the Pottery Barn because it has a hand on the cover. I created a spreadsheet and listed out all of the books I want to read, along with the page counts, did a little bit of math, and discovered I only have to read 105 pages each day in order to accomplish this mountain of books. I think it's doable. Leave me a comment down below what your June TBR is, and thank you so much for watching. In the peaceful woodland village of Shady Hollow, everyone seems to wind up dead. That's not right. It'll be very interesting though. Nailed it.